Hey there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy. And happy Monday evening, everybody. Today I'm going to just play with my paper pumpkin. Now, when I get my paper pumpkin, I don't change it up a lot. I don't do big alternatives with my paper pumpkin. I usually like to change the greetings if their greetings that come in a paper pumpkin aren't something I would like. So sometimes I do that. But let me show you what I did with this month's paper pumpkin. So this month is the August Kindred Greetings paper pumpkin. And like I said, I've done most of my paper pumpkin, but this is what the stamp set looks like this, and it came with a gray ink spot. Now when you get your paper pumpkin, it has everything in it, including the adhesive, an ink spot, and a stamp set to make your projects. And then of course your first paper pumpkin comes with a block that you can mount your stamps on. You can use it over and over again. So what the cards are supposed to look like for this month are like this. And let me show you what I did. So I made this one just as is, like that. I made this one as is, well, except I did want to save some of these card bases. They have a texture to them, so just basic white. Well, really, I think it's willow white, or I guess kit white is what most people call it. But it has a texture on there, and you probably can't see it on the screen, but it kind of has a sheen and a texture on there that's really pretty. So I kind of wanted to use the card bases as card layers, and then that way I could get a lot more cards out of them. So that's what this one, I just used a piece of Lost Lagoon and cut the cardstock down so it would fit on top of that. And I haven't finished in any of the insides of my cards. I still need to do that too. And then the third card looks like this, if you do it exactly as the kit says do it, right? I thought the stamp set, did I show you the stamp set, is good, I guess. I like the little friend, and the send your whole heart, sending my whole heart in a time when words fall short. But hey, hi Glenda. Anyway, so I didn't want, these words aren't words that I would use all the time, and right now I need anniversary stamps or anniversary cards. Sorry, I was distracted by Glenda. So I'm going to use this happy anniversary right here on a couple of my cards from the Phrases and Frame stamp set, because like I said, I want anniversary cards. Let me show you what I did. We're going to start with this one right here. This one, I thought, what if I took that background and I did an ombre effect on there, and how cute that is. Now, I like this one. It's okay, but when I cut my cardstock down, I didn't like that. So I'm going to make another one tonight, and we'll do the ombre. I'll show you how I did that, and then I'll cut the cardstock the right size, instead, or at least a different size than this size. Okay, and then this one, I thought I liked this is white on white, which I absolutely love, but I thought this might look a little bit better with a little color back there. So I took and I tried to ombre this piece here, which is another piece in the kits, right? And I like the way I ombreed it, but when I put it down, it didn't look gray anymore. It looked like a brown color, which kind of surprised me. So that was with just my regular standard ink pad, right? And some blending brushes. And that's why I put the espresso as the card base, because to me this looked brown. Then I thought, well, what if you took your Stampin' Blends and you colored that piece instead? So this is what my Stampin' Blends look like. This is Stampin' Blends with the gray granite ink on top of that. And I don't know, I think it looks a little bit more gray rather than a brown tint. However, my gray granite Stampin' Blends have colored way too many walruses, way too many rhinoceroses. So my gray granite Stampin' Blends need to be replaced, and they would never make it through this whole piece of cardstock. So I just wanted to show you what the Stampin' Blends would look like, which if I had better Stampin' Blends and they weren't so used, I would probably do this to this piece here. But then I thought, what if, let's just do that now. What if we took that piece, I'm going to grab all my pieces that are left over, what I have left of my kit here, because there's the envelopes. Look how pretty the envelopes are. I don't ever cut into my envelopes because I love sending cards in pretty envelopes. Let's find the pieces that I'm talking about. Well, we'll need this one to make this card. let's take a card base and we'll cut it down to, and I still haven't found, but it's in here somewhere, that little piece that goes on top of the card. But I'm going to take a regular card base and I'm going to just cut it down to 4 inches. Whoop. Hello, Rodney, by 5 1/4. And this way, that will layer nicely on top of a regular card base. And I have a few card bases here, so after I do what I'm thinking, we'll decide if it needs to be a brown card base, gray card base, and why can't I find that one? There's one little piece of paper that is like disappeared in my kit here. There it is, look right there. So this one is like textured, this one is not. But what if we just took that little ink spot and we just smeared it across the cardstock, and we'll see if it looks more gray. Speaking of ink spots, Stampin' Up! Has redesigned their ink spots, and in September's kit, we get the new, they're a little bit bigger, I can't talk tonight. They're a little bit bigger and they snap closed. And then I heard you can actually take your ink spot and smash it together to get ink on the lid, and then you can watercolor and such other things with it. So I'm kind of excited about the new ink spots, but like I said, that's next month. But if I took my ink spot, I'm trying to decide if I want to swipe it this way or do I want to, I'm going to go this way. So I'm going to just go across like this. Now, whoop, I did not want to do that. Oh, look, I can fix it. Nice. I can't keep it straight. Let me keep trying. There we go. But anyway, the texture of the paper this month, I would love to hear your thoughts because it was a totally different kind of cardstock, and I can't explain exactly what it was. It was just different. I don't know how to hold my paper so I can swipe that one last. There we go. Looky there. That looks kind of cool, right? You like my words, Glenda? Not making any sense tonight. But I like the look of that. And as I was saying, the paper is a little bit different texture coating this month. And so it has like a plastic coat. I don't know, it doesn't dry. So I'm going to take my tissue here and just dab. See that ink that's coming off there? I don't want that to come off on my hands and my other project. So I'm going to just dry it. And then let's see if I can flip it over. There we go. And dry it on my scratch paper here. But I think I like this better with it having just a little coat of color on that little piece. And look how pretty that is. Now, I really like that. So let's compare this with our Stampin' Blend. See, it's still a little browner. Of course, it's a little darker because I went straight ink on paper. But it does, to me, look more gray than it does brown by doing that. And that was my whole goal, is to have a gray granite card rather than brown. Okay, so now we can go ahead and finish. So in the instructions then, you want to take your stamp set or your stamp here and ink this up, right? And I'm going to stamp it right on top of there, and then I'm going to let that dry. And then you guys tell me what you think. Maybe it's too dark. I don't know. Kathyisms. My words are all jacked up. Oh, see, now I like that. I like that. Which one do you like better? Do you like this one better? Do you like this one better? Or do you like this one better? I don't know. For some reason, I really like that. So let's just go ahead and finish the card. Now, I did use, oh, and what's the die? Because my happy anniversary didn't fit on the word strips that came in the kit like this. So I have a bunch of those left over. Can you see them? They punch out like this. That same kind of texture cardstock, which, I don't know, I want you to look at your paper, Pumpkin, and let me know what you think of the different texture of the paper. But I had one of those little things here. Didn't I have an extra one of those? Maybe I don't. I thought I cut one of those extra so we could make the card. And I don't think I did. Yes, looky, here it is. Right there. So let's stamp using the gray granite. And we'll just stamp happy anniversary. Oh, like I was saying, this is from the Winnie the Pooh words. And I'm sorry, I don't know names of bundles. And I'm not going to have this on my gallery. You'll have to ask me and I'll have to go look it up. Which one was the middle one down, Linda? This one, the new one? This one. You like this one better? We'll do 1, 2, or 3 as to which one you like better. I'm going to wait till she replies so we can know. And why can't I find any of my I was so organized. I had everything laid out, ready, and I wasn't going to be digging through looking for pieces and parts. And now I can't find the leaf that go on this card. Do you guys see it there? Is it under my instructions? No? All right, well, I give up. Oh, there it is right there. Okay, we're going to put some dimensionals now. In this kit, it came with mini dimensionals that fit really well on top or on back of these little leaves, so we can pop those up. And to be honest with you, I don't know what the instructions said. I just did it how I wanted it, because I like to put dimensionals on the top area of my branch, and then on the bottom branch, 1. So now I don't how's this one? You like the white on white then, right? Now I don't even pay attention. I ask questions and I can't remember what I said. Okay, my dimensional didn't stick. So I like to put dimensionals up at the top of my branch and then liquid glue at the bottom, and that way you kind of get that lifted look that's not floppy. Okay. Put a little bit of glue here. Well, Glinda, when it's your anniversary, I'll send you the white on white one. And the reason that I like paper pumpkin, another reason I like paper pumpkin, is because sometimes, even though that dimensional fell off, I'm not having any luck with dimensionals. I should just give up tonight. The reason I like paper pumpkin is sometimes it might not be my style, but then I could send it to somebody else and it's their style, and they'll appreciate all the more, even though it's not what I would normally make. There, I've tried to get to another reason why I like paper pumpkin and got totally distracted. Okay, just like they suggested, I'm going to go ahead and swoop my ribbon around here. Nope, this is thread, baker's twine, around here twice, and then tie a little bow. And I'm even going to try to tie my bow on camera, which isn't a good idea. Let's see what happens. Oh, good. I'm glad that I, for some reason, like the darker one. I like the one where I just swoop the ink pad, but maybe that's why we all have different tastes, right? And that's why paper pumpkin works, because you could send a card that isn't my taste to someone who has a different taste. There we go. We got our little bow tied. Now we need to decide which color card base are we going to use. So let's decide, do we like, let me get it out here. So we do this is early espresso with the white, and then the gray granite. There we go. And then our greeting, which now here it is, like this. Or do we like a gray granite background like this? Or do we like just a basic gray background? Because I don't think it's brown enough to go on to pecan pie. And I don't think, let me see if I have any crumb cake bases here cut. No crumb cake, but I have a crumb cake scrap. Yeah, see, it's not crumb cake. I think I'm going to go back to the early espresso and put it on brown again. What do you guys think? Oh, I don't know. Now I'm thinking I like the gray granite better. Yep, I'm gonna go with gray granite. We'll put a little bit of gray granite on there. I hope that's what you guys picked too. Now, like I said, I haven't done any of the insides, and I'll do the insides. All I do is cut a piece of white, basic white cardstock, or willow white would work too, at 5 1/4 by 4, and then I'll stamp probably that same little image that we stamped here on the inside, and then add words as I mail them out. But real quick, we'll slap the card together, see what we think, and then we'll compare the 3 of them, and you let me know which one you like the best, especially since we did this one in gray granite. Okay, we'll put some dimensionals on the back of this. And I think on my other one, I even cut this down a little bit, but I didn't think about that before. I tied that ribbon on there, or baker's twine, and I'm not going to try to move that around. Hello, Alice. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting too. I'd love to hear your input as what you think. Okay, put this, I'm going to make so it has a little extra room. There's going to be a little tiny white at the top and the bottom. Let's see if I got it. Oh, I did get it straight. Just like that. And then we'll put a couple mini dimensionals just on one side, because this is going to be up on the other side that's already raised. So we'll put a little bit of tape here, and then we'll bring those other 2 back in and compare. And I think the plan is, for me, we'll see if it happens, if I run out of time or out of ideas, we're going to do that with 3 cards. So there's the finished one. Well, kind of finished, because I'm going to do something else. I'm going to add some embellishments on there too. Now this one, because it was white on white, I liked a pop of Calypso Coral, and I don't know why. Maybe because these are my all-time favorite embellishments, and I say these that were right here, and now they're gone too. Where did they go? Oh well. Let's try a different embellishment on here. How about these? These are the adhesive back metallic gems. Let's put some of those on this one, this one. And then you tell me which one you like the best. White on white, the early espresso, or the gray granite base. While I put bling on there. And I think I'm gonna go with copper bling. That ought to be a switch. That just adds a little bit of color. What if we did something like that? There we go. I can't decide. I think I like all 3 of them, but I really don't think I have a favorite. I think this one might be my favorite. All right, let's go to card number 2. I don't see anybody saying which one they like. That's okay. I liked all 3 of them. Just something different you can do with your paper pumpkin. Let's go back to this one. So this is what, like I said, Paper Pumpkin designed it to be, right? I also thought, what if we put a little bit of color behind there, and I took Petal Pink. Oh, the same one? Thanks, Rod. He said that would be his choice. So I like the Petal Pink behind there, but let me show you what else I did with this card that I thought was pretty interesting. So this piece here is what it looks like, right? And then you attach it to the top of the card just like that. However, I turned it over and I used it as a mask. And I made a card looking like this. That looks like this. And look how pretty that is as a mask. Like that. I even did the inside of this one. So that's why the back of it is blue, although, or really it's Pool Party, although I could turn it over. There's nothing wrong with it. I haven't compromised it or anything. Oh, nice. An espresso. And that was my favorite too, Alice. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so I could really use it this way, but then I thought, since we're doing this ombre thing, what would happen if we took this and a white card base, grab one of those, and then just a piece, nope, the other card base that we just cut down. Where did that one go? This one, let's cut this to 4 1/4 by 5. As a layer. for our card, 5 1/4 by 4. Is that what I said earlier? That's what I'm going to cut it down to. So then this piece would be on the white and layer here. And nope, I'm going to change my mind again. And I'm going to see if I have a piece of, what color am I looking for? Peacock. Pretty peacock. Do I have a pretty peacock card base? And I don't. Let me grab a piece of pretty peacock cardstock, and we'll make a card base really quick, because I think this is going to be pretty on a darker card base. So instead of the white, like I had originally planned, oh, and look, I knew I did. I have one right here ready and waiting for me. Okay, so we go like this. And we're going to layer it on here. But first, I'm going to do a little bit of ombre effect to this piece here. So it's already pool party, as you can see. But if I brought in a little bit of Lost Lagoon, I didn't want to close that. Thanks to Glinda. If you take your blending brush and you rub it here, and then you rub it in the lid, who taught me how to do that, it softens. You don't have to go start over here. You can just start right on your cardstock, and it doesn't have that blotchy feeling, or blotchy effect, or blotchy look. So let's see if I can get some Lost Lagoon a little bit darker than Pool Party here. And I might have to use Pretty Peacock to see if we see a really different color. No, I see the ombre effect. Let's do some Pretty Peacock on the bottom here and see what that looks like. And then that way, instead of making a Calypso Coral, which is a secret, might not be my favorite. I'm going to put this on so my fingers don't get over. Calypso Coral is definitely not my favorite color. Whoops. Dang, I didn't mean to do that to my paper. Did you see that? Be careful. When it gets wet, it gets bendy. Haha. That's a word too. So what do we think? We need some more. I think we're good with the peacock. Let's put some more. Lost Lagoon. Sorry, I can't do two things at once. I can't blend. And so we have that ombre effect. I think that's really pretty. But if we do that to that, we also need to do that to that other piece that I lost. And now my fingers are going to get all dirty, and now I'm touching all kinds of white cardstock. And he disappeared. The little, this right here. Not that one. We're going to stamp on that one. Okay, come on, Kathy. This piece right here, do you see it anywhere? See how this little piece back here? It should be right here. Oh, brother. Here it is, right here, under my ink pad. So we want this to be Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock and a little bit of Pool Party, just like that one. Although, yeah, let's just go for it. This is Lost Lagoon. Let's start with a little bit there. Most of the circle is going to be covered up, so we don't need to worry about the inside. But we're going to, oh, and I bet you there's enough on here, yeah, that I won't even need to, there we go. Just something that quick. Now it's ready. So instead of a Calypso Coral card, I'm going to dab that ink, turn it over so the stuff that's not dry won't smear on everything else. There we go. Stamp that same image in some Pretty Peacock. Pretty Peacock is a really pretty color, and I do like dark colors for my sentiments. I usually stamp those in the darkest color that's in the kit, but it takes a second to dry, so I'm going to make sure it's dry before I handle it, because then I'll have Pretty Peacock fingers. Lay that over that. That's pretty. Okay, let's put our card together. So first I'm going to put this white onto my card base, making sure that's the right size. Yes, it is. My tape runner. And then we'll put a few dimensionals on the back of this using the kit dimensionals. But of course, everything is gone. Did I just have them a second ago? I did, right? This, here they are. I stashed them away. And I'm going to kind of over dimensional the size to make sure that it stays nice and firm on my card and we don't have any sagginess. And then the bad thing is, after you put all these dimensionals on, then you have to take all them dimensional backs off. And just so you know, if I'm missing comments, I apologize, but I do go back and read them all. Really, I wouldn't have to take all the dimensional backs off because they would still give it the stability, and trust me, it's not going anywhere. But let's be better safe than sorry. There, I think I got all of them. Make sure it goes this way. Look how pretty that is. Is it just me, or is that pretty? Look, his belly doesn't sag now because of all those dimensionals. Okay, let's take some of that twine, and even though it has some gray granite in it, I think it's going to look okay. On the back of this, I'm going to just take a little bit of tear and tape, which also came in the kit, and just put a couple pieces here. And then I'm going to kind of do a faux bow, just like they did on this one. And I think it's going to show up better. You got to take your release paper off first, Kathy. And of course, I can't find my pokey tool now because that would be way too convenient. Oh well. Take a pick tool here, get that backing off, and then we'll make what I call a faux bow and just loop it around like this. And loop this one over here. That looks about the same size or the same length on both sides, and we trim that off. And then with some more dimensionals, I'm going to add this to the front of our card, and then just like that, we're done. Now, like I said, normally I would take a piece of basic white for the inside, but I have all my cards to do, so I'll just do all of that later. We'll just get the fronts done today. Make sure it's not upside down. And I have my bow on there and a dimensional back. We'll get rid of him. But look how pretty that is. Which one do you like better? Do you like the pool party and the pretty peacock? Or do you like the, this is petal pink? Or do you like the white one? Looks like that. Now, just so you know, on this card, I thought that this stamp set that came with the paper pumpkin this time, for some reason, coordinated, not upside down, coordinated with the Nature Symphony stamp set and dies. And so that's what I cut this out of, was the Nature Symphony dies, and I thought that looked almost as pretty as this one here. Looked just as good. So there was my inspiration for that one. Okay, there's my cards. Pretty peacock. Yeah, I have to agree. I'm not a fan of Calypso Coral, and boy, when they do the color revamp, if Calypso Coral went away, I wouldn't be too sad. Now don't tell Stampin' Up! I said that. I don't want to hurt their feelings, but Calypso Coral could go. And which is funny because I really like Timid Tiger, which is another orange, but okay. So Rod agrees the Pretty Peacock is the winner. Thank goodness I did one card that way. Okay, that's 2 down. Let's make the third one. That looks like, did I get it out yet? Yes, I did, and now I put it away. Nope, here it is right here. Looks like this. So we have this one, and we have this one, and we're going to take another card base and cut it down. And I think with the card base, because it has that texture on it, if we had more showing of the ombre behind the little lattice pieces, is what I'm calling them, I think the texture is going to show a little more. So I'm going to first, let's measure. Let's get the piece just like this right here. This is about, ooh, it's going to be close, but we're going to put it on. It's probably 1/8 of an inch bigger, but let's go with that. So I'm going to cut this down to 4 1/8. That'll give us a little bit more room on the side, and then 5 3/8, so we have a little bit of extra room on the bottom. So to have an itty bitty border, but it's going to be on a white card base, so I think that's going to look okay. Unless, did I use my white card base? I didn't think I did. We'll see if I can find it again. Right here. There we go. So this is the one that we're actually going to ombre. So I'm going to use that Pretty Peacock again. Find my Pretty Peacock blending brush, and I'll start at the bottom. Try not to get my fingers totally messy, and I'm going to just do dark and then kind of, oops, I went a little far up because boy, if I keep going with the peacock and get lighter, oh, that might work. Let's just do that. We'll do it all peacock, and then up here, where did my tissue go? That way my fingerprints won't get on my blending. We're going to have to cover up a little bit more here because it's a little bit messy. So we'll start dark down here, and then we'll go up a little bit lighter up until really light. What do you think? Something like that? We got to turn it around so we can get, there we go, this edge over here. Okay, so it's not totally ombre, but it's really got some pretty color behind there. I agree with you on that one, Glenda. Maybe Calypso Coral has one spot in the sunsets that it's good for. All right, I'll give you that. Okay, then this piece, we're going to do just like we did with the kit, and we're going to stamp some of these splatters on here with our gray granite ink. Whoops, it's sticking. And a little bit here, and then let's do just a little bit down here. And then this, I guess I should show you, is going to look like this. It has these die cut pieces in the center. I don't know if you can see them or not, but I think it's easier to put those on there. And I'm going to try to find a clean piece of paper in case this gets on my white. So I'm actually going to put dimensionals on those pieces. And you know what? We're not going to use these dimensionals. We're going to use standard dimensionals. Those are way too small of mini dimensionals. Those are mini dimensionals. We'll just get some standard dimensionals here. And, ooh, and look, these have tape on them so I won't have to take the backs off. Nice. If you put packing tape on the front of your dimensionals, then you just peel them off under the packing tape and you don't have to take the backs off of all of them. So I'm going to just put 3 dimensionals across all 3 layers here. This might take a minute, but like I said, at least I don't have to take those backs off. So I'm going to lay this on my card front, this one here that I've already colored up, and see exactly how much of a border we have so I know where to put it on there. That's not going to work. Let's see how big this is compared to this. Okay, we're going to just line it up side to side. Wish me luck, and top to bottom. This might be a mess. Who knows, it might be a fun mess. Like that. Now let's take this border off and see what kind of borders we have. Well, so far, it's looking pretty good. It's not perfectly centered, but I think it's going to be good enough for me. After all, my name is not Hallmark. I am a happy card maker. Looky there. Not too bad, right? Not perfect, but not too bad. I have it on there. Done. And I do like the background better that way when it's a little bit bigger than it was before. So let's take our basic white card base, and I'm going to just add this. Let's get that bone folder to work a little better. There we go. And just add this to our card front with that itty bitty little border. And I'm going to just use some liquid glue so I can slide it into place and maybe get those borders perfect, since my other ones aren't the best. What is going on here? There we go. Look how pretty that is. So here, let's do some comparison while I finish up the card. So we have the white on white. We have the white. This one's a little bit better ombre because I didn't use all pretty peacock. I used a little bit of the pool party and then the Lost Lagoon and then the peacock. But I think I really like the darker one better. And this one, I'm going to kind of guess where my glue should go and glue this to those strips. Just like they said in the kit. Lay this down just like that. So pretty. Then we have our little hello right here. I've already stamped because I was supposed to use it on my last card, but however, look, I just stamped it right onto the strip. That's right, made by me and not a machine. Way more personal, probably not as pretty. Well, sometimes prettier, huh? We'll just put a little bit of tape on him and kind of tuck him under there, like that. I'm gonna put my hello on those little dimensionals. Or I should say on with those little dimensionals. And you know what we forgot on our last card is embellishments. So I'll have to go back. This kit didn't come without it. Came without embellishments. Boo. But I'm sure we have enough in our stash that we can add what we like. But I'm going to find some embellishments that go, whoops, with this one. Looky there. Hello, friend. Cute, right? Okay, that was all of them, right? Oh, but let me show you what I did. So then you have this piece left over, and I thought, what can you do with that piece? Let me show you what I did with that. And I think that's the last. Oh, no, then I have several more cards to show you if you like to look at cards. But I took that tissue paper that comes with the kit, and I just glued it to this piece here. Now I did cut it down a little bit on the sides, you could see that. I used the same die from the Nature Symphony with a little bit of that designer series paper, and this is with vellum. And look how pretty that card turned out. I thought that was quite different, and I love the texture of the tissue paper glued to this. Just a little bit of glue on all those stripes, and then you lay it on your tissue paper. Make sure you take your tissue paper and you crumble it up in a big ball and then flatten it out again so you get that nice texture on there. Alright, so then by cutting all of my card bases up to use just as card layers. I had a bunch of that white textured paper, which I think is so pretty. So I made a few cards. Would you like to see? Oh, I guess just 2 more. Do I have them all here? Knowing me, I'll find more later. But here's my first one. I love the white on this one. Same thing as like the other inspiration from the other card that now I can't show you because I can't find it. With just a little pop of color. And look how pretty that is. And then I thought, what if it was a silver anniversary? And I went ahead and did it with the silver foil paper, and look how pretty. Now you can't see the texture on the camera, but you can sure see the texture on the paper in person. So I think that's all my cards. Let me bring them all back in. I had fun making them with you, and you guys oohed and awed just at the right time with my different colors and my pretty peacock rather than my calypso coral. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for watching. Okay, as I clean up here, or try, all my extra little bits and pieces, I'm going to lay out all my cards. So there's my white on white cards, which I do like. There's my tissue card, out of camera. There's my calypso coral, peacock ombre card, my white on white. And then we have our calypso coral, our pool party, the petal pink one, the one using this as a mask, the one that we did tonight by swiping the ink pad. This is with the blender brush and the ink pad, and then that one's just the white on white. Look at all my cards. Yay! Alrighty. That's what I have for you. I had fun. I got my paper pumpkin all done. Yay, the satisfaction of having the paper pumpkin all finished. I can put my stamp set away. I can throw my box in the trash or the recycle bin, and I can hardly wait till next month. Now let's talk about next month's kit, because if you haven't seen it and you live in Colorado or other place, it's Aspens, and I meant to grab that paper to show you. I don't have it. It's absolutely beautiful. Makes 10 cards, and you get the new ink spot design. So I wished I would have brought the paper to show you what next month's paper pumpkin is, but it is absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Glinda. Thank you, Rod. Also, I saw you here earlier. I appreciate all 3 of you, and hopefully I'll see you back here next Monday as I'm going to do my team swap. Okay? Have a good night. Bye-bye.